previous garage. On this one, I don't know how to do this. This is really awkward. I built exhaust. Look at all this exhaust that I built. Fully stainless steel. Some of it's TIG welded, some of it's MIG welded. But yeah, awesome. I just gotta throw it back in the car. Let's go! Let's build an exhaust. So I got all the stuff on Amazon. Squirrely, I believe, is the company that makes this, but it's a kit. It's a more expensive setup because it's not like the pre-opened up style. I mean, the bends are true. It's a nice 065 wall. It's not like polished or anything like that. Like, this is a true like builder series style stainless steel that I'm going to be using. 3-inch. I don't know if I said that, but it's all 3-inch. The kit basically comes with the 290s, the 45s, the 180s, and then 2 straights. I bought 2 extra straights because I want to kind of play around with some stuff. I've got some flex joints that's going to come right off the manifolds. I've got some hangers in like rubber isolator style. I've got a couple of V-band clamps because I might want to change out the muffler setup because I don't know how loud this is going to be, and if I take it on long cruises and stuff like that. I want to be able to like either switch it out or switch it up. I might do like electronic dumps on this thing eventually. But right now I'm just going to mock and do all this up first and see how it is, see how I like it. For mufflers, I am running the Flowmaster Flow FX style. So it's a pretty straight through style. It's going to work awesome. I think they should sound pretty good. And then an X-pipe system because I really want that scavenging setup, you know. It's been proven to make horsepower, so that's why I'm going to use that. But the first thing I'm actually going to do is I'm going to start backwards. I'm going to make my tips first. I kind of want something different, a little bit of a NASCAR style. I mean, there's no way I'm going to be able to go up and over the axle and get it out the back. There's no room in there for that. So I'm just not even going to bother. So I think I'm going to make it come out like right here in this area. But I want it to be an oval shape, cut at a 45 down and angled kind of back is my goal. So you kind of will see it, but you kind of won't see it. So it's like a mini NASCAR boom tube style. That's kind of what I'm going for. And I think I have an idea of how I'm going to do that. So I had some scrap 3-inch lying around from the last project that I had. So I basically cut it. Well, first I scrunched it in my vise to make it 1.5 inches. And my plan is, this isn't going to stay like this, and I can't do it one-handed, so this is going to be interesting. Like, make it a V, right? So pretend that these are up like this. And then plate it. So I actually took another piece of scrap, cut it right down the center, and I flattened it as much as I could flatten it. It's not perfect, but it'll get me where I need to go for this. So do you kind of see what I'm saying? Let me mock one up. Let me tack it all together, and I will show you. So you can kind of now see what I'm going for. I just want that oval shape because the car kind of has like those oval shapes, right? And this is just going to stick out the side, but now I got to trim it to make it look more gooder. So this is the top side. The plate over is the top side. I'm going to cut this one straight flush. So it's like level and even. And the bottom one so that it's kind of more at an angle back. Not going to lie, in my head, these were going to turn out way cooler, but still going to use them. They are very symmetrical, but heat warpage is a real thing when TIG welding stainless. I had to do a lot of massaging. I spent way too much time on these is what I'm trying to say. So that's the only reason why I really kind of want to still use them. And you don't even, like, you hardly see them. So let me show you what one kind of looks like underneath there. There you go. That's basically where I want them to come out. Because it's going to shoot like right where the frame rail just kind of starts to scoop up and right in front of the traction bar set up there. So yeah, that'll be on both sides. I think that'll be kind of sweet. Plus, like when the car's on the ground, you won't notice it. I might paint it black even to hide it a little bit more. I just kind of like the shape. And I'm justifying it is what I'm doing right now. Anyway, I'm sick of working on those. I kind of want to get started on the actual exhaust system now. So the first thing I got to make are my downpipes. I got the passenger side one in there. And once I kind of figured out how that one needed to go, I am a stickler for symmetry. So it took me twice as long to get the driver's side all tacked up. So it's not a true 45. I actually had to put an 18 in it. The same thing that I did like on here. I did a pie cut section here. So I added 18 degrees to the 45, and that gave me exactly what I needed. But getting the length right so that these are the same height off the ground is kind of a pain in the butt. I just have healthy tacks on here right now so I can build off from it. And then after these goes those little flex pipe sections. Next up, I really want to get the X pipe all situated. So this is what I'm going to be using. Got this on Amazon. It's nice. Nice welds. Definitely will work for the X pipe that I want. So the way I'm going to do that, I have, well, here, both of my 180s. I drew out on here my 45, and I'm just going to I just eyeballed it, and I marked out where, because I don't have fancy tools, right? Where the 45s are. So it's going to be like a 45 off, extension, 45 back to go in. Same thing with the exit. So that's where both my 180s are going to come in. So I'm going to get going on cutting those up and fitting these here, because all this has to do is just be flat and flush, because that's what I'm going for. Hopefully be able to tack all that up, throw it up in there, and just link it to the downpipes that I just made. All right, got everything cut out at my 45s that I wanted, and I was really hoping that this length would be enough to hit the spread of the downpipes, but it's not. I've got about a 21 from center to center. This is about 19, so we're a little bit off. Not a big deal. Plus, these are more of a slip fit anyway, so it's gonna, I think my next option is I'm gonna cut this down just so it has enough slip in. That way I can get more weld penetration, and I won't have to use any filler. I'll just use the extra meat of this as a filler to bond these two together, weld the two together. And then I will have to make up whatever length this needs to be in order to come back over this way to make my 21 inches. So that's what I'm gonna do now. I'm gonna cut, don't fall. I'm gonna cut these off, and I'm just gonna start mocking this all up, and then just use this as like my measuring board, because I know what lengths I need to shoot for, and just kind of tack it up, and hopefully that'll work, and I'll be able to just kind of lay it up in there, and then I'll just have to make straight pipe sections from here to the downpipes. So I got all my pieces with a little bit of extra meat on the end of them cut out and ready to go. Everything's wiped down with acetone. I basically want to make the X pipe have 45s off all ends, flat, even, level, within the same plane. Basically I use that word a lot, I think. Using my Eastwood welding table here, it's got these nice little things that come up, so I can just go against there that way, and then this one up. And then I'm using my my angle. What are these called? I don't even know. The things that do the stuff with the angles. That's what that is. It's gonna go like right there. I'm gonna buck it up against there, as level as possible. Is this gonna be perfect? No, but it's gonna be as perfect as I can get it for what I'm working with. So this is what I'm gonna do. Throw a few tacks on here, and that'll give me a good foundation to work off of to get my distances that I want in order to meet up, like I said before, with downpipes, and then go off the back from there. I know I said I was just going to tack it, but I wanted to fully weld it, so that's what I did. Not the prettiest welds in the world, but they're going to work. If anybody criticizes it, guess what? It's not your car. Don't worry about it. It's going to work fine for me. They're going to hold up just great. And I laid out kind of a map on my table here, because I know that this is flat. I know my distance between the downpipes, so that's kind of what I got these laid out for, so that they can shoot straight into it. And then I had to figure out how far back this goes in order for these two to meet up square, and then the distance between here and here is how far I got to cut some pipe in order to match these up so that I get my correct distance side to side. Does that make sense? Makes sense in my head. So I did measure this out. It's like a little bit over at 8 1/4. So I'm gonna cut these out. I might end up MIG welding this stuff just because of gap reasons. I don't really care that much, to be honest with you. I just want it to work. Not building a show car here. So yeah, let me cut these pieces out and see how off I am. I mean, I got plenty of straights to work with in order to make this happen. So hopefully I can do it in one shot. Measure twice, cut once. I have the X pipe held up by jack stands, kind of right where I want it. My clearance is really tight right up in here, and it's not exactly lining up like I'd like it to because of that clearance issue. What I'm thinking is I scrunch it, and then I scrunch the end that comes off there to match up with it, because that can rotate and it's a slip fit, so I don't have to be exact. Does that make sense? This might ruin the whole thing, I'm not sure. But that's what I want to try to do. I want to try to scrunch this, just make it oval instead of round, and then make a piece that meets up with it. That way it'll gain me more clearance and I can shove that up a little bit higher. The X-pipe will be a little bit more even, a little bit more down in the back to give me a little bit more clearance on the drive shaft. Not that I need it. I jacked up the rear end until it was like at full droop, and the drive shaft didn't even come close to the X-pipe itself. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do that. God, I'm nervous about it, but I gotta make it I gotta make it fit and work. That's what those two words combined. I also want to do like some tabs off of here, and this is where it will kind of mount to, so it'll have a little bit more stability there. I'll drill and tap that, and then I'll do a cushion clamp in between the two. That's my idea. So I scrunched it ever so slightly right there in order to give me a little bit more clearance, but it has, I think, plenty. It might hit eventually, whatever. But I have, yeah, you can see the extension pieces in here that come off the downpipe. Everything's tacked together. I got my fitment pretty dang good. I am still gonna MIG weld all of this just because, you know, it's quicker. And I'm not like back purging my welds anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And then this is at a nice distance here from the drive shaft. So yeah, now I can pull it all out from manifolds back, fully weld all this, and then I'm gonna build like little tabs, like I said before, off of here to here. This section should be pretty much done. It needs extension pieces out here, but I'll get to that later. But for now, yeah, just take all this out, weld it all up. There we go, got it all welded up. Like I said before, I just use my MIG in order to get it done. So much quicker and so much easier, just because I'm not very skilled yet with that in order to make this. Plus my fitment wasn't exactly. So yeah, I just kind of cleaned it up with a wire wheel. Should be fine. Obviously those areas are gonna rust, but the rest of it should be fine. So I'm not really worried about it. Now it's time to throw it back in and hopefully it still fits. So I changed my mind on how I'm gonna mount this up and everything that I'm gonna do. Not the X-pipe, everything that I have done is done. By the way, this is a new day, so that's why I'm just kind of like, I sleep on things sometimes and I overthink it, and then I rethink, and then I make adjustments. That's that's my process. But off of the X-pipe, I had those 245s. I'm just gonna put the muffler directly on there, and that puts it right in line with a cross member that I have, like a cross brace piece. It's just a tube. And then I made these hangers up. Basically took, see, there's that basically word again. So these are stainless steel welding coupons, 1/8 inch thick. It's the cheapest way to go for this stuff. So you can get these on Amazon real cheap. And then I got these from Speedway. They're just exhaust hangers, and that will go inside there. I can't do it with one hand, but you get the idea. It clamps in through. I'm gonna drill a hole straight through the bar. I'm gonna run this bolt right through the bar, then I'll mount up there. And this will go right on the pipe at an angle like that. And that's how the whole thing's gonna be held up. It's just by the manifolds and this, and that's it. Keep it simple. And then I'm gonna do turnouts that will come out still out the side, but I have a new way of that. I'm gonna do that as well. But I need to get these in place first before I can start working on the side exit exhaust. Got both of the mounting tabs welded on. Had it all mocked up in there, and then press fit with jack stands, and then I kind of tacked them on and pulled them out and fully welded them in. Just gonna wait a minute for these to cool down, and I'm gonna throw them all up in there, and then I'll show you my path to how I'm gonna exit them. All right, I got everything mocked up where I want it to. Everything's just kind of slip fit in to each other right now. Everything's just, you know, held in place by jack stands, so that I know when I go and I tack, do a bunch of heavy tacks on everything that's not welded together, it will hopefully stay in this area because I have just enough gap right there for the exit. Same thing on the other side. I just wanted to make sure that they were completely symmetrical, even though no one's ever going to notice it because you can't see two sides at once. But eventually, well, not eventually, soon, after I get this all tacked up, I'm going to flush cut this with the pinch rail and then do a slash cut back. So it just kind of flows with the car, so you won't really even notice it. I basically just stuck that in the vise to scrunch it to give it that look, and then it will elongate it a little bit more. Oops, sorry. When I cut it along the pinch rail there. And it was kind of hard to see, but it took me forever to get this all mocked up and where it is. You can see this jog that I had to do off the exit of the muffler in order to get these tips on here. But yeah, I like this actually a lot, and I'm just gonna use that. I'm not gonna use that bullshit thing that I built earlier, because honestly, I keep looking at it, I'm like, that's terrible. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna tack everything up, and then the whole thing is gonna come out as one unit, and then I'll be able to fully weld everything, and then flush cut those, and it should be done. Honestly, don't remember where I left off. It's been a couple of days because I wanted to do just a mad cleanup of the barn. That's kind of what I did, but have the exhaust system out. I still have to fully weld this thing in. It's tacked pretty heavily, so I'm really hoping for minimal warpage or shrinkage or whatever. So I'm gonna really try to manage my heat when I weld a few of these joints up. I mean, there's literally 6 joints I have to weld up, and then I want to put another O2 sensor in the driver's side bank, and then just put a plug in it, just so I can like throw the O2 sensor from one side to the other, just to make sure that both banks are reading the same, because with the Terminator X system, it only uses one, and you're basically only reading off one. So if there's an issue on this side, you really won't see it, and it might throw it. I don't know. I'm just precaution. So that's why I'm going to put one there. So I'm going to get all of this done. And I also have the tips to cut off and stuff too. So yeah, I'm going to hopefully just get all this done. That will be done, and then it can be up in the car and never come out again until something bad happens, which I hope it never does. Definitely not winning any welding beauty contests on this one, but they're solid. Scuffed them all up real good. Scuffed the ends up with some Scotch-Brite. I got my tips right where I want them, both sides. Looking good. Like I said before, I really hope I didn't get too much warpage. I jumped around quite a bit, so that this thing should go up in there the same way it came out. But that's what I'm going to try right now. Exhaust is back up in there. It was like a weird balancing act in order to like get it up. And then those things have quick, what are those called? Clamps, quick clamps for a word that I'm searching for. V-band clamps. That's it. Wow. Okay. So it has like the quick clamps for the V-band clamps on there, which made me like, I could hold it up. I was basically kicking it up with my legs, and then I held it up there, and then I could quick clamp them. Throw the bolts in back there, tighten these up, and then tighten those up, and it worked out quite well. Didn't take too long. No issues from heat shrinkage or anything like that. And honestly, I like it a lot. There are the tips right there. And when this thing's on the ground, you won't even like really even see it, which I really, really dig. There we go. Awesome, awesome. Full exhaust system is done. That's what I'm going to call it for this one. Full exhaust system is done. Stainless steel. I tried to TIG weld it all, but we ended up MIG welding most of it. Not a big deal. But like I said before, it was very tedious, very time-consuming work in order to get it to do what I wanted to do and make clearances that I wanted to make. But it's nice. It's tucked up underneath there. 3-inch exhaust. That's awesome. If you guys made it this far in the video, hit that like, hit the subscribe. I'm going to do the wiring next. And I should be able to fire this thing up right after that. How freaking sweet is that? I'm excited. Thanks for watching, guys.